Have you ever thought, I'm just lazy? Is that you? I'm here to tell you you're wrong. Here's why. Stay tuned. The lonely stage. It's the stage where you're a bit different from the general crowd that you hang out with, the people you spend the most time with. You're different from them, but you haven't got the results to be where you want to be, so you're not able to hang out with that new group of friends. You're in this middle ground. He calls it the lonely phase or the lonely period. That's the same thing that happens when we're talking about having that self-talk about being lazy and not being able to follow through with a lot of your goals, whether it's nutrition or fitness. You're starting to change yourself. You're starting to change your eating habits, sleeping times, exercise habits, and nutrition. You're changing just enough from the people that you hang around the most that you don't get along with them. And you enter this lonely phase. Nobody likes being lonely. We're human. We love being parts of groups. We love being part of a tribe, a family, a work group. And so when you're doing just enough to differentiate yourself from the group, you get to that lonely phase. And when you get there, it's very awkward. The anxiety goes up. You seek comfort and fall back in line, conforming again, because that makes things easier. So when we're talking about, am I lazy? The answer is no. You go through these loneliness periods and you start feeling that difference, that change coming, that change is on the horizon, and it's uncomfortable. The main factor is you don't have accountability and support set up to push you through that lonely phase so you don't feel alone, so you don't feel awkward, and you know you've got support as you start your journey for change. And I'll start going into some of the tips and the ways you can resolve this lonely phase, and you can have that accountability so you can stop calling yourself lazy and stop using that as an excuse to keep going back to your old ways, to stop with the yo-yo diets, to stop with the fad exercise plans every new year, every summertime, every spring break, to end that cycle once and for all. And the biggest thing is accountability and having support. It's not that you're not disciplined. It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you're afraid of hard work, because you're not. You've achieved a lot in your life to this point. But why haven't you been able to stick it through when it comes to dieting down, exercising, or just implementing healthier habits into your life? It's accountability. Let's dive deeper into that. Let's talk about some statistics. Studies show that people who have accountability set up prior to going after a goal are 65%, hear me out, 65% more likely to be successful because they have accountability set up. And having coached hundreds of clients, most people don't lack knowledge about what's healthy and what's not, what's going to make them gain weight, what's going to make them lose weight. It's because they're missing accountability. You need to follow up with them. If only you know about a goal that you want to ascertain when it comes to fitness and nutrition, and you give up, there's no repercussion. It's just you. You can make an excuse, you can make any reason you want to start over again next Monday, or the first of the month, or the first of the year, kicking that proverbial can down the road. If nobody knows, nobody knows. It's not about motivation or willpower. You don't have somebody checking up on you. You don't have a system set up prior to going after it that holds you accountable, that is a constant reminder. Look, motivation will eventually wear down, especially when things get challenging, when you're not feeling as energetic, when money's low and that becomes a constraint. That's not what holds you up. It's somebody that holds you accountable and could give you some key steps to get over those little hurdles that pop up. If you think they're not going to pop up, you're either naive or you're just doubting the fact that that's the way life goes. Is once you plan something, you're almost guaranteed to have something jump up as a good excuse for you to quit. Don't do that. Have it set up beforehand. Have an accountability partner, a coach, have a system to remind you why you're doing it in the first place. And it makes it so much more reliable and easier. So when things do get tough and that motivation starts lacking and that consistency maybe breaks up and you have a little bit of an interruption with that, then you can get right back on board. Someone that's going to encourage you, give you the right tools, the right steps, the right tips to get you headed in the right direction. The second point is why doing it alone drains you. One reason why going at it alone drains you is because you've got nobody to give you feedback. If you're only going at it by yourself, you're going to constantly doubt yourself. You're going to constantly find excuses. You're going to constantly push and kick that can down the road. The body seeks comfort. Your mind and being human seeks patterns. We're all creatures of habit. And if you're in your own head and you're having these conversations, any of those reasons can be a reason. I was talking to my brother the other day, and this is a great example. He's going through this period of life where he's cutting down the adult beverages. And we're talking about a time before where a celebrity had passed away. And there was nothing particularly significant about that weekend, but this celebrity passed away, and he goes, you know what? We're going to drink for her this weekend. So he went out having drinks at the bar. Every time he had a drink, he would toast to the celebrity that had passed away and was playing her songs and talking about all the memories he's had when he heard the songs for the first time. And everybody he came across was like, wow, he really likes this celebrity. He goes, man, I really tied one on. But it made me think, because he didn't have anything set up to handle, drinking less at that time, he just made a reason to want to go out and celebrate. And it was as loose as his connection with Whitney Houston. Never met, we're all fans. And if you don't know who she is, you should probably do a little bit of research on YouTube. Phenomenal singer, beautiful voice, unique. There'll never be another one like her. And that was his little way of slipping back into that drinking phase and finding an excuse, because he didn't have accountability. He's cutting that out of his life right now, but it made me think about nutrition as well. That's what a lot of us do. Things start getting tough, you get in your own head because you don't have accountability set up. It's really easy to fall back into your old ways, find an excuse, and next thing you know, you're starting back off at square one. So don't do that. Don't do that. The other part of having accountability is that you're not alone. You have somebody, you have a group, you have a support system that's going to help you celebrate the small wins. Talking to a really, really good mentor of mine the other day, and we were talking about comparison. Now, comparison is the thief of joy, because when you start comparing yourself to where you're at to others, it's very easy to realize, well, I got a long way to go. I'll never be where they're at. And if you're in your own head and you don't have support set up and you don't celebrate those small wins, it's going to be very, very difficult to stay motivated, to keep your mind on your purpose and driven to your goal in the first place. But having accountability set up is to where someone knows what you're trying to do. They know how hard it is for you to put down that cookie, that box of donuts, whatever it is that you give up on. And if you're able to have someone, a support system, an accountability partner, a coach that understands what your challenges are, and you share those small wins, having somebody with you and celebrating those small wins means so much. It makes all the difference, because you're not going at it alone. And those little wins start stacking up. A lot of times we want that big, significant 10 pounds, 20 pounds gone. You want to be able to deadlift a certain amount of weight. You want to sprint or run a distance in a short time. Anybody who's done any of those things knows that it doesn't happen day one. There's little milestones that you pass along the way. And if you don't have accountability to celebrate those, to reinforce why you're doing what you're doing, it's going to be very easy to go back inside your head and make excuses and downplay those wins. Don't downplay them. Those wins stack up and ultimately lead you to where you're going. So that's a great, great asset to having support, accountability, and a partner going through this journey with you. The other part of that is, think back to a time when you were really, really stressed out about an event coming up, a project due, something that you knew there was a chance of you failing at it. And well before that event ever happened, you're stressing out, nervous, thinking of all the ways it can go wrong, and you've got nobody to talk to about that. The event comes up, and however it turns out is however it turns out. But have you ever had that situation? You did have somebody to talk to, and that person was able to give you a different perspective and completely change the way you were looking at it. Maybe they're shining a new light on it, giving you a new angle, but by sharing it with somebody, you were able to get a whole new perspective, and minutes later, it's not as stressful. You're not as anxious because you now see it from a different perspective. You've had your paradigm shifted. Has that ever happened? If you go at this alone and you don't have somebody else to get a fresh viewpoint or an alternative perspective, it's very, very easy to get back inside your head, get anxious, and give up. That's another key reason you should have accountability. Now let's talk about what real accountability looks like. Think about it. You ever been with your best friend, spouse, partner, or coworker and thought, let's do this challenge together, lose weight, eat better for the next week or two. Somewhere along the line, you just fall off. Well, that's not real accountability. Here's what real accountability looks like. This is someone that's going to constantly have a set time, have a set route, and check in and follow up with your status. Follow up what you did good, what you did bad, what were the challenges, what were some of the small wins, what were some of the things you enjoyed, what were some of the things you disliked. Real accountability actually has a objective way of following up so that each step of the way, you're continuously seeing progress. accountability. Another part of having real accountability set up is you get real-time feedback. The example that I use when you have a coworker and you guys are kind of loosely wanting to do something, and maybe you don't work with them all the time, or maybe you do, and you bring your food in the next day, you guys are doing good, and you want some real life feedback. Maybe it's before work and you're trying to prep a meal. You're not sure what to make. You're not sure what to put together. You're trying to get a hold of this friend. They're getting ready for work too. You have no real feedback in real time to get the actual help that you need. If you have accountability set up beforehand, you're able to get that live feedback. You're able to get information that is personal to you, that understands your challenges and knows where you're at in the journey to give you the right information in real time. You don't have to wait 24 hours. You don't have to wait a week to see him again. You don't have to wait till you run into your accountability partner to actually get live feedback that makes sense for the plan that you're going after. That's another huge benefit of having real accountability set up. And we're gonna keep going with this example of teaming up with a coworker or a relative when going after a goal, is because this one's tough and we all do it. What you need when it comes to real accountability is someone who's going to be non-judgmental and purely give you the advice, purely give you feedback that is no judge, that's to give you the best information possible. You go through it with a coworker, friend, or someone you may not fully trust when it comes to holding you accountable. They may give you information. People will give you feedback to throw you off your path. Oh yeah, it's good. You should probably go out and party this weekend. Just take the weekend off. Yes. They'll tell you shit like that, knowing that it's sabotaging your goal. And then when you get back to work on Monday, maybe they stuck to it all weekend and they're down another pound or so. And they're gonna sit there and silently judge you. Well, you're the one that gave me the advice. Think about it. How many times have you had things like that happen in your life where somebody gave you some advice and you're not sure if that person was like low-key judging you for taking their advice? But having accountability set with someone you trust, someone that constantly gets results and has done it time and time again and uses a non-judgmental framework that they're working from. They're not doing it out of a personal attack, just giving the right information in a non-judge way. And for me, that's the best kind of accountability I could ask for. Is what helped me get through my fitness journey and nutrition journey, and it's something that I constantly do with my clients too as well. So make sure that you have someone that's going to actually check in and give you some real objective feedback. Also, on top of that feedback, that it's live feedback, it's real time. They can actually get you the information you need, and from a non-judgmental space, that they're purely just looking to get you the results that you want, to where you want to go with their goals, and is doing it from a framework where they have nothing to gain, nothing to lose. They're just giving you the right information. Now we talked about what real accountability looks like. Who do you get it from? And I'll give you a couple places where you can go and actually get that real accountability. One of the first things you can do is hire a coach, mentor, specialist, or link up with one that knows what they're doing, has done it before, is doing it currently, and has the proof, has tons and tons of results that you can look at, ask questions, and see proof to what they're doing. That would be the first step. Second would be to join a community or a group or be around like-minded people so that you're getting this constant feedback from everybody around you. Think about it. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If those 5 people are not worried about eating really good nutrition, are not worried about resting and making sure that they're fully recovered, if those 5 people are not even into exercising or wanting to lose weight, maybe they're in the party stage of life, maybe they're into chasing dates down, maybe they're into cars, I don't know, but it's not what you want to do. It's going to be very, very tough. It's going to be very, very challenging to have that be the group that you spend the most amount of time with and that you're trying to stay locked into a goal. So find you a community that supports you, is like-minded, has similar goals, going through similar struggles. You guys can share wins, tips, challenges, resources. There's a huge benefit to having a community that supports and is doing the same thing you're doing. You gotta have that set up beforehand. That's huge. Find someone who knows you well. This could be like your very, very best friend. This could be your spouse. This could be a coworker, someone you trust. I mean, like a ride or die trust type of relationship that is paired up and is equally as serious as you are to getting the results. Having someone like that you can pull their ear, you can get that information, have discussions, and share with that person that you care about so much some of these challenges, and they're equally as serious as you, as getting the results. That's going to be key, along with having a coach or a mentor, being part of a like-minded or headed in the same direction. And you can use all these resources. You're getting constant feedback, real live feedback that's non-judgmental, is going to set you up for the highest level of success. Now, you've been riding with Coach Kia, got a couple of turns left. If you're saying, I'm just lazy, I can never do this, you're wrong. You're not lazy. You're not afraid of hard work. What you don't have is proper accountability, support, and real-time information that you can trust. Don't get inside your head. Don't fall back on excuses. Be okay with discomfort, because you're changing. And the biggest way you can tell that you're changing is the more challenging it becomes. But if you're going at it alone and you don't have accountability and support set up beforehand, you're going to let that discomfort force you right back to where it's comfortable. And where it's comfortable, you're not going to see change. That little bit of struggle will lead you to rely on your coach or your mentor. Be supported by that group of like-minded people that are headed the same direction as you. You have that trusted person in your life, equally as serious as you. For you to get this change, you're going to get the support, reinforcement, and objective information to get over that hurdle and see some real changes once and for all. So you don't have to be there. A couple more turns left, we'll be home here. Thanks for riding with Coach Kia. Look, if you're one of those people that needs accountability from someone you trust, someone who gets results currently, has a boatload of proof stacked to the ceiling of being able to help others that have the same challenges as you get from point A to point B, lose 25, 35, 50 plus pounds from a non-judgmental space. Some of my contact information is below. I'd love to set a time where we can talk, see if we're right for each other, and get you real results in real time. So thank you for tuning into this video. I'm glad to share this with you with some of the things that I used to get the most amount of change when it came to my journey, and some that each of my clients, friends, and family members that continue to see success and are in great shape year round continuously implement. And it's through some of these strategies and blueprints, frameworks that we set up in some of our initial consultations and through my coaching. So just want to say, have a great day. Reach out if you need to. And until next time, remember, it's about progress, not perfection. Coach Kia, sign off.